Hello, chemistry! The purpose of today's video is to review the answers to the polyatomic practice questions that were linked in the comments of the last video that went over polyatomics, what they are, and how to name them. Joining me today are my two new coworkers, Cody and Stella. Kind of hard to see the two of them, but Cody is the black lab facing me, and Stella is the hound facing away. They're my dogs. I'm sure they'll be making lots of appearances. So I'm going to be going over a PowerPoint where it briefly reviews how to solve polyatomic naming problems and then goes over to the answers to the problems that were posted. How do we name polyatomics if you are given the molecular formula? So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to find the polyatomic in the molecule. Secondly is you can ignore all of the other numbers once you found the polyatomic, and then you figure out the name of the polyatomic and of the other atom that it's bonded with. First one is NH4Cl, and if you use the polyatomic list, you can find that NH4 plus 1 is a polyatomic. So step 1 is find our polyatomic. There it is. So our polyatomic is ammonium. And to name this one, we have chlorine at the end, so it's going to turn into chloride. So the name for this one is ammonium chloride. Sorry that these problems started with the only positively charged polyatomic. That was probably a little confusing. I meant to edit this assignment before I used it again. Alright, so let's look at number 2, which is BeSO4. If you used your polyatomic list, you'll find that the polyatomic here is going to be SO4, which is sulfate. Be is beryllium, so this one is going to be named beryllium sulfate. 3 is KNO2. When you find the polyatomic, it's going to be NO2, which is nitrite. So the name is going to be potassium nitrite. Number 4. This one looks really complicated, but don't get distracted by the numbers. Find the polyatomic, which in this case is going to be PO4. Then you can ignore the rest of the numbers and name it. So SR is strontium, and PO4 is phosphate. So the answer to this one is strontium phosphate. Number 5, polyatomic here is going to be ClO3, which is chlorate. So this molecule is going to be zinc chlorate. Number 6, polyatomic here is going to be hydroxide, OH-. So this molecule is going to be named silver hydroxide. Number 7, yet again, sorry, I need to edit this assignment before I use it next time. There is no polyatomic in this problem, so you're going to use standard ionic naming, which is name of the first element, iron, and then replace the ending of the second element with "ide." So the name for this one is going to be iron chloride. Sorry guys, didn't mean to include any trick questions. So the last problem for naming a molecule is going to be this molecule, which looks really complicated but follows the same rules. Find the polyatomic. Here it's PO4, which is going to be phosphate. So name the first atom, tin phosphate. So that's the end of the first half. Let's talk about how you solve the second half of these practice problems, where you're going from the name to the molecular formula. So the first step is going to be find the charge of the polyatomic and the metal ion. Secondly is the number of the charge, ignoring whether it's positive or negative, is going to become the subscript of the other species, and then if you can, reduce. I have arrows on the slide so you can see what I'm talking about when I say that, if it's been a little bit since you've watched the polyatomic slides and have forgotten what that means. So let's go through the answers to the second half of the worksheet. So number 9, they give you the name barium nitrate. And when you find the charge of barium, you'll see that barium has a +2 charge and nitrate has a -1. So ignoring the positives or negatives, the number is going to move behind the other species. So the 2 from barium's charge is going to move behind nitrate, and the 1 from nitrate's charge is going to move behind barium. Well, just like in algebra, we don't need to write 1s. So the formula for this one is going to be Ba parentheses NO3 and parentheses 2. Number 10 is ammonium sulfate. So the charge of ammonium is +1 and the charge of sulfate is 2-. So The numbers come across to be the subscript of the other species. When you're writing multiple polyatomics, you're going to write that subscript outside of parentheses, just like we saw in the last problem. So the answer for this one is going to be NH4 parentheses 2 SO4. 11 is aluminum hydroxide. So same steps. Number of the charge becomes the subscript of the other one, so 3 comes across behind hydroxide. And we're going to have a 1 behind aluminum we don't have to write. So your molecule is going to be Al parentheses OH3. 12 is calcium phosphate. And the answer for that one is going to be Ca3 parentheses PO4 and parentheses 2. 13, sodium nitrate. So because both of the charges here are 1, you're actually not going to have to write any additional numbers for these. You're just going to write them together. Last one is rubidium sulfite. Bring the numbers of the charges to be the subscript of the other species, and that gives you Rb2SO3. If you have any questions, please put them in the comments below, or you're always welcome to email me. I'll put my email in the comment section so it's easy to find. I hope you guys are all doing well. Enjoy your weekend, and I hope to talk to you soon.